The council will now vote on the proposal to send a party of 16 citizens to Seattle to find the people who killed Joel and execute them. Amy Beth?
Yes. No. Yes. No. No. Yes. No. 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 The vote is 8-3. The proposal is rejected.
Adjourned.
Welcome to Idle Ride. I'm Marcy, your host, here with my co-host and chosen brother, Paul.
Coming from a new location, live in Denver.
Woohoo! And today we are joined by Zoe from Backlook Cinema, the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, Zoe.
Thank you for inviting me, my friends. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. You all look wonderful.
Oh, you
the
do
feeling's
too.
mutual, yeah.
And we made it through that second episode of terror and sadness of Joel dying in front of our eyes. So now we can move on and go down the path with Ellie. But before we get started, Zoe, I wanted you to tell me, how did you get into The Last of Us, or have you played The Last of Us? Give us a little recap of that.
Well, I remember like years ago, I've heard about The Last of Us, like the game. And I'm one of those types that it's just hard for me to get into a game when it's first released most of the time. So it took me years to finally start to play The Last of Us. I don't think I played it until it was on PlayStation 4 when they did the PlayStation 4 like refresh or reboot or whatever you call it. So I played it on there, and the first game, and it was like one of the best games I've ever played. So when The Last of Us 2 came out, I played that like right away, like maybe a month or a couple of weeks after it came out. Like I had to finish the previous game because I don't normally play games simultaneously. And so that one came out, and I kept hearing people talk about how they were course change that you have to do when you play the game, like the emotional roller coaster, the controversy. And I didn't read into the spoilers, so I didn't know what the controversy was. But there were a lot of people that were angry about it. Like they loved the game, but they were so angry with it. And so I had to play the game, and I was like, "Oh, this is what they're talking about." And and I'm not talking about Joel. I'm talking about the thing that happens later on in the game, and that is indeed jarring. It's something that I don't think it's ever been done before, at least not to that extent. And it is something that I don't think you can really replicate in any other form of media or art. It's like, that's just different. That's just a different way of consuming a story. So that is fascinating. So I played the game like a while ago. So I only remember like the main and the most crucial story or plot elements from the game. I haven't watched any Let's Plays or videos or whatnot. So I only have like vague memories of this plot points from the game. So a lot of these things in the series I'm kind of experiencing for the first time. And then a lot of things that they've added. I know it's I'm like, I don't remember that from the game. That's something brand new. Like one of the examples is that in episode 2, there's like a horde army that's attacking the town. That didn't happen in the game. And it was shocking to me. I was like, no, don't do that. You can't do that. That's not right. That's not fair. And it's like the zombies just kept coming. And that was shocking.
That's great. I mean, at least you're one up on me because I never had a PlayStation. I just played Last of Us when I was rooming. I think it was with Paul or something. Somebody had a PlayStation, and I watched them play it first. And then I was like, I have to play it while it's still in our house because they're our roommate. And so I did play it, Last of Us 1, when it first came out. So, but then I never bought a PlayStation again, so I couldn't play Last of Us 2, and I've been dying to play it, and I promised myself I would play Last of Us 2 before the second season came out, but I have not. So it's all kind of new to me. So it's very interesting going through these roller coaster emotions of, like, especially the latest episode. I don't know if you watched episode 6. That's
Well, here's the thing. I don't mean to interrupt, but I have not been able to watch The Last of Us until this past couple of days, right? I watched the first episode like weeks ago, and I hadn't been able to get back to it until recently. So I mainlined or binged like 5 episodes, and that's not healthy. That much trauma in that short period of time
Oh my god!
is not healthy. All right, continue.
So-
I'm sorry.
I feel like I cried in almost every single episode of this season. Like, I didn't cry like a lot. Like, I would be a little bit weepy, but then like, okay, whatever. Or like, I could tell that I was affected by it. But episode 6, oh my God, the end scene. We won't describe it because it's so far away, but I was full on crying. Like, I looked over at Andrew and there was like tears running down my face. So anyway, this fucking show is like putting me through it, guys.
Right.
Well, let's get started then. So the very first scene of episode 3, The Path, is Jackson Hole burns, Tommy mourns, and Ellie cries out in pain after Joel's death. So we're actually back at the night of the raid, and they zoom out, and you see all the charred zombie corpses. Joel is wrapped in a shroud. Tommy cleans his body and says, "Give Sarah my love." And then Ellie is in a hospital with a tube in her lung and screams out in anguish over Joel's death, which she is reliving in her mind.
I thought that this opening couple minutes was kind of fascinating because there was literally like, there was no dialogue. There was a slight monologue of send her, my regards in the afterlife. And yeah, it was just quiet and like letting you sit in your emotions and the darkness and the aftermath of everything.
I totally agree. I feel like this episode in particular has a lot of long, silent moments.
Yes.
And I think it's really good that the episode lets you mourn Joel with all these different people. And the scene where you see Tommy come in and Joel's body is shrouded and he's wiping him. Because I work in the hospital, I feel like we are really far removed from death now. And sometimes I do think it's important that families do this process of just looking at the person, mourning, all those things. Because I think sometimes in the hospital, it's just so cold,
Mm-hmm.
But back in the day, people used to go and take care of the death of their loved one, the body of their loved one, so that you can process all these emotions. And I think it's a lot harder for us now. And people are just shocked. For example, somebody who's 91 years old, they're like, what can you do to save them? And I'm like, literally, they're dying. Like, they're 91. Like, what do you want them to do?
Right.
Do you want them to do rehab? Like, I mean, that's what I do is rehabilitation. And at a certain point, you're just like, is this for you or is this for the person who's going through this? Right. So anyway, It was lovely to see that scene.
I just noted that there were bodies on top of bodies, like so many bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like most of those obviously are the zombies, or what are we calling them? The infected. And and it seemingly they picked up the ones who were not infected, and then having to kill the people that had been bitten but not yet turned. So that was horrifying. And so that was the long quiet moments that had happened was really satisfying. And then you had Ellie, who is so traumatized that she wakes up screaming in her hospital bed because she can still see Joel dying before her eyes. And you had all of these other quiet moments. Man, and you kind of needed that because the first 2 episodes were really intense, right? And so this episode is, especially episode 2. So this episode is kind of a breather, and it takes its time to tell the story.
For sure.
I guess it also stuck out that like she was pretty hurt. Like a tube in you, that's not something that you get from a minor injury. So like she probably thought she was gonna die when she crawled up to Joel after they left her.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point, because in episode 2, when I very first watched it and I saw her get kicked in the ribs a bunch, I was like, yeah, she's Ellie, she's fine. And then in that scene, you're like, oh, fuck, like she wasn't fine.
Yeah.
And then when you watch episode 2 a second time, you can hear her like wheezing as she's like crawling to Joel. So they gave you clues. I just was so freaked out in the moment that I didn't like hear that moment of her kind of wheezing and she's bent over the horse. Okay, yeah, she was seriously injured. And so I do think the idea that she was in the hospital for 3 months was a little like long, but let's get into that next scene where they basically tell us it's 3 months later. So basically this is where Jackson Hole rebuilds and Gale lets Ellie go home. So we see a scene of Tommy trying to smash a post and Jesse takes over and is able to do it better. Ellie is still in the hospital. She passes her physical. Gale comes in to check on her mental health. Ellie is being flippant. Gale talks to Ellie about her last time talking to Joel. Gale tries to find out about the wrong Joel did to Ellie. Ellie kind of blows her off. Gale lets Ellie leave the hospital. So, Zoe, do you want to start off this scene?
You mentioned Ellie with Gale. Is her name Gale? My memory's shot.
Yeah.
So that was a nice scene. How Gale is trying to talk to her, and Ellie kind of treats her the same way Joel does, right? Because they're almost the same person, like Tommy said in the previous episode, right? Like she's just eager to get out, and she's doing all the things to prove that she's ready and fit. And she's trying to get out of there. So, but it's always nice to see Gale. It's always nice to see her there and probing. And then when you see her in the later episodes, it kind of opens up about what Gale is all about. So it's like, because it's like Gale is a puzzle, and you don't exactly know how she fits. You can't really connect her emotions exactly. Like she tells you, but you don't really know. And then when you see the thing in the later episodes, like, oh my God, this is what she's been going through all of this time.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
100%. You're right, Zoe. You don't really know what Gale is trying to accomplish in this. She's supposed to be checking Ellie's mental health, but at the same time, she's still digging and trying to find out, how can I hate Joel more, kind of. And that's where we see that she's not like the best psychologist, because her feelings are getting in the way of helping Joel and Ellie. And we all know now, because we watched episode 6, so we're not going to spoil episode 6, but there's all kinds of these complex emotions happening. And Ellie is just Ellie. I have a clip of Ellie talking to Gale and her little kind of flippant responses and just not really taking Gale and mental health seriously.
Yeah, I miss him. He meant a lot to me. So, yeah, upset and sad.
Of course. But I was actually wondering about New Year's Eve. You two got into it at the dance. Was that the last time you spoke to him?
Mm-hmm.
Lies.
Liar! She is a
He got
liar.
home, he was on the porch, and I should have talked to him. But I didn't.
Do you regret that?
Yeah, of course. But your final moment with someone doesn't define your whole time with them.
It shouldn't, but it often does. In my last moment with Joel, he said he wronged you. Maybe bad.
What is it that he said that he did?
Well, that's the thing. It didn't really make sense.
You said upper decker?
He said, I saved her.
He saved me a lot of times.
Yeah, I would think so, but that's not wronging someone.
It's weird.
Weird. I don't know what you're
No
talking
idea
about,
what he
Gale.
meant. I don't feel wronged. Man, I wish I could have let him off the hook for whatever it was he was talking about. guess I'll have to let myself off the hook for that.
Such a little
Well,
bee.
you really are doing
sometimes.
good.
Now, having seen all of the other episodes, this has a very different context. But
Yeah.
I'll just say that she's amazing in this scene. She's just incredible. So I'll just say that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it hits so differently after episode 6. The way that she's talking to Gale, at first you're just like, she's just being a little bitch. She's trying to get out of it. But she's actually telling the truth in this moment, kind of. Lying and telling the truth at the same time. I mean, that's what Joel and Ellie are really good at. And so I've been saying this all along, and we totally agree that I feel like there's so many parallels between Joel and Ellie's personality. And I have that clip where Gale talks about it and counsels them, but of saying that there's all these great memes now, guys, about when she says they are walking the path together. I mean, that's what it is. Like, they walked the path together, but Gale is saying it in a kind of a negative way. And there's all these great memes people put together of them walking the path together. Makes me weep some more. But
The
anyway,
path, that's the name of this episode.
it really is.
Yeah.
I'd also like to say about Gale, I don't think it's literally every scene, but like almost every scene, there's a version of her saying like, I'm an alcoholic and on drugs all the time because I'm desperate and miserable. How are you?
Exactly. And like people just ignore her screams for help. She's like,
Right.
I need help. I'm an alcoholic. I have to help everyone else. And they're like, great. So can you help me? Because I have this
Right.
problem.
She's like, no one's here to listen to me.
I don't know if it was in this episode, but she did mention that she requires counseling, but she's the only person that's qualified. So it's like,
Yeah.
she's basically like, she shouldn't even be a counselor for the guy who murdered her husband. Like,
Right?
that's
No.
bad, right?
Yeah.
But it's not, it's like she's the only one. They're post-apocalyptic, so they got to do things like that are ethically in a gray area because
Yeah.
they can't do things properly. And the other thing is that, like, she asked the same question that she asked Joel, you know, like she asked Joel, what did you do? She asked Ellie, what did he do? He said he did something to you. And Joel, basically, I listened to the first episode where you talked about this, and the way his face changed, his emotion changed. And basically when he said, I saved her, it was basically him shutting her down, right?
Yeah.
Shutting the
Uh-huh.
psychiatrist down, like shutting Gale down, closing the door. It's like you could see it in his face. He became hard as stone, slammed the door in her face, and then walked out. And Ellie kind of well, I don't know if she pretends not to know or she doesn't know, but she's like kind of flippant about it. Like, you know, I don't know what he's talking about, right? I wish I knew. I don't feel wrong.
Well, now we know that she did know. in
But at
this
that
moment.
time, yeah.
Yeah, at that time we didn't. But like, I think it's something about Joel and Ellie where they will only tell each other these things. Like, he told her the true story of Sarah. I don't know if you remember that scene, but it made me cry in season 1, where they're just sitting in Salt Lake City. And he's like, actually, I lost my hearing because I tried to kill myself. And like, I don't think he told Tommy. I don't think he told anybody else this story, right? So the only people that they can tell their deepest, darkest secrets to are each other because they've done some pretty crazy, terrible shit. I mean, they aren't great people, as some people online want to say. Like, they're psychos. They kill people. And you're like, well, everybody is a circumstance, right? There are true psychos, but they're not. I mean, I think there are circumstances in which you are forced to do things sometimes that you don't want to do. And they can only tell each other those things. And like, she doesn't tell Dina. And that's, you know, something that we can talk about later about the things that have happened to her. So it's interesting that they are so much the same.
Mhm.
And it's a very father-daughter kind of relationship, father-child relationship, I guess.
Also, there's a word for what you've just described. When you think that person's awful for the things that they did and discount any kind of circumstance, but then you give yourself the benefit of the doubt because you're like, well, yeah, but they did wrong me and I'm hurt and like I'm not a bad person for murdering that guy. That's the fundamental attribution error.
And that's also called Abby.
There's a word for it, Poe. Abby.
All right. So as Zoe talked about Ellie going back to the house, that's kind of the next section of scenes. It's kind of a long set of scenes that I want to go through, but she goes back to the house for the first time. Ellie mourns Joel. Dina tells Ellie about the WLF, and Tommy and Ellie discuss making a posse. I do think the morning scene where she goes home and, like Zoe said, she doesn't go to the garage. She goes into the house. It has been a long time since she's looked at the house kind of in a loving way, as opposed to, I think she probably felt like Joel was trying to keep her trapped in childhood, basically. But now she's looking at it with different eyes. And it feels like, I don't know what you guys think, but kind of like a game scene where you might walk in like the Bill and Frank and see the love that he has for wood. Like he's been whittling this owl. Like she's looking at all the things that he's done. And then she goes in and sees his jacket and starts crying. And like even just explaining it makes me get emotional, because Bella Ramsey, like Zoe said, is amazing actor, did such a great job of just being in that scene.
Right. She looks much too innocent to be as hard as she is. You're right. She has such a baby face, but then it's like, and then she does something hard. It was like, well, it's a pretty flower that I need to stay away from, right? It's like,
Yes.
And another thing that you pointed out was like, when she goes into the room and she sees like the woodworking he had done. I believe this is something that they add into the series, because I don't remember this aspect of his character. Like I think in the game, the only thing that you really know about him is that he's handy with improvising stuff, like jury rigging stuff like MacGyver, and he's a musician, and he's a deadly shot. That's the three things that you kind of know about him. And so it's like the woodworking, I think, is something like his artistry is something that is, I think, is a little bit new. And so when you see that, the stuff that he was working on, it's like it really can pull at your emotional levers like that. And then, her walking around and looking at all of his stuff. And like, these are all of his things, and he's not there to, fill that space out anymore.
It's also obvious that real artists were putting that scene together, because he had, a stand with like, this is what a horse looks like, a real photograph. That's kind of how you would probably do woodworking.
Yeah, reference pictures.
Exactly.
So this is something that's kind of interesting to me, is that everybody in the fucking apocalypse can draw, can sing.
Oh my God, Dina's instant wolf drawing. It was like, that's so good.
I know. I was like, okay, this is the thing I saw. It would be like a fucking stick figure, and they'd be like, that doesn't look like a wolf. Like, what are you trying to do? It is kind of interesting to me that they all have these like I think it's more like the actual actors coming out a little bit in the show. But it's true that, Paul, I think in the game, the music aspect is very important, like the guitar music. So I feel like that makes sense, and that they share that.
Maybe only artistic people survive the apocalypse, because if you don't have some art, you don't make it.
Creativity, imagination.
There we go.
Keeps you alive.
I think most people have some sort of creative thing that they reach out to, and I think that a lot of people have multiple creative outlets. Like Ellie, she does sketches, but she also writes, and then later on she learns how to play the guitar. And like personally, in my own experience, like my first artistic expression was through illustrations. I drew a lot of pictures and whatnot. And then later on, it was cooking. So even now, I'm expressing myself through cooking. And then,
that's neat.
and then it was this podcast. So, podcasting in general. I have creative outlets in podcasting. So I think everybody has some artistic outreach or expression that's
a really good
that just
point.
kind of. And then the other thing is like, there's not a lot of television watching going on. Nobody's listening to the radio. Nobody's listening to the podcast in the apocalypse.
We're back to like poking rocks with sticks and be like, that's my day.
They're back to going like, ooh, constellations. We can study the stars again, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no light pollution anymore.
Yeah, let's reaffirm that the Earth is round. I'm going to stick a stick right here, like the sun's shadow. You go 20 miles down that way. You stick a stick in the ground,
Yes.
and we will measure the circumference of the Earth because we have nothing else to do.
funny.
Literally.
I love it. Those are all great points. I guess I am very bad at most art things.
But you do roses, like gardening is an art form.
See, Marcy.
Yeah, I do like to write, and it's been a long time since I've actually done like short stories and stuch. But
And
so I
if
have
you
to
weren't
get back to
binging
that.
television, you would
Yeah.
have published like 6 novels already.
100%. That is my problem. I get way too many hobbies. So I love that we get Dina arriving and immediately knowing that Ellie's gone back home because Dina's been checking on her so regularly. She knows that she needs to bring a peace offering.
Because she's got to have that talk now.
Yeah. And how mad Ellie is going to be. But you know, Ellie must really like / love Dina, that she doesn't immediately kick her out or anything when she hears that Dina didn't tell her about Abby's gang. This is just a very informational part of the show. Like, we have to have this information. Ellie has to have this information. So I appreciate that it's done kind of in an emotional moment where you learn that Dina loves Joel as much as Ellie does.
Let's not overstate it. Come on, Marcy.
Well, that's true. But he's a dad figure for them both,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And we also get to see a kind of a dad moment at the end of these scenes where Ellie approaches Tommy, and I'm guessing she hasn't gotten a lot of physical affection because she's sort of closed off a little bit herself. So only I feel like someone like Tommy, who's Joel's brother, can force her into a hug. And then she kind of at first is like, I don't like it. And then she's like, fine, I'll give you the hug back. And that was a really sweet moment because I think she is really prickly, kind of like Joel is. And so to see that moment where, yeah, he does see her as family, she does love Tommy. It's all a little bit of a love fest here that I enjoyed.
Okay, I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting to go into this, but the way you said that she's prickly, I was just going to say, like, how about you trying to be the only lesbian in the entire world that you know of? Like, one of the only.
One of the two in the whole town.
Yeah, and the other one's not compatible with you. It's like that song by Corky and the Juice Pigs, I'm the only gay Eskimo.
But I think she's been that way anyway. 'Cause
It's true. But she was a lot more talkative in the first season.
It's true because
She's a kid.
she's a kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. She's a teen now. That's the thing is I
Yeah.
have to keep reframing my brain that she's a teenager. She's figuring out who she is. She's in love with somebody who she doesn't know even is sexually attracted to her, and she's sexually attracted to her. So it's like, yeah, I remember those emotions of ups and downs and crushes and things. Like, so I get it, but it was a sweet thing that she could come out a little bit of her shell for Tommy because she's had these moments with him, and they illustrated that in episode 1 when he was teaching her
Mhm.
how to shoot.
Yeah, yeah. They're close. And regarding the hug, I think Tommy needed the hug probably more so than Ellie did. Like, there was a point in the
Oh,
conversation where it's like, you know, she's trying to convince Tommy, like, we need to go out there. You don't know what he means to me. And it's like, you don't have to tell me about it. He's
Right.
my brother. I've known
Yes.
him longer than I've known you,
Oh,
that you've known
yeah.
him, right? Like, we grew up together. Like, so,
Yeah.
he's feeling as much as she is, or probably more than she could understand, right? It's just
Sure.
that he has to keep it together because he's a town leader, and there's still stuff that needs to be done. There's like, he didn't just lose Joel. He lost a bunch of people that he had gotten close to in the town, and he
Yeah.
has to help bury those people. So it's like, he's dealing with a lot of emotions right now. So he understands what she's going through, but at the same time, there's a certain amount of composure that he has to have in order for the town to continue to function. Because it's like, you can't take a break, right? You can't
Yeah.
take a couple
Right.
of days
People
off.
need
You
you.
can't. Right. You can't have bereavement leave because it's like, there are bodies in the street, right? There are corpses that have to be taken out and burned. There are people that have to be buried. There are children that have to be counseled. There are people in the hospital that have to be taken care of. There are all these things. So she wants to put together a posse right now. And it's like, come on, kid.
I think everything you said is also really good context for the part a little bit earlier that we kind of just left unspoken, where, Tommy's hammering in that stake to like help make a formation for a new building or something. And then Jesse like knocks it out of the park. It's like, yeah, he's fresh. He got a good night's sleep probably, He's that's his first 3 hits.
Jesse is young and buff. Like Tommy's buff, but he's old, right? So, he gets tired way sooner. And Tommy is just like, oh, I'm still good. I was like, I can go all night. And he's Captain America right now.
Well, there is something to be said about old man strength, though, because my husband Andrew is kind of a beanpole and he doesn't look very strong. And then there'll be these like huge dudes try to like carry like one piece of plywood. And then he'll carry like 4 up a ladder. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like sometimes, like that's the thing about testosterone for whatever reason, like dudes kind of keep that strength for a long time. But I think they're trying to illustrate here in this scene that yes, they're getting to be older men. They're not as strong as they once were. And actually that's like a good point, I guess, is that as men get older, a lot of their self-worth, at least the older generations, were about strength, like physical strength. And so like someone like Joel or someone like Tommy, like losing that physical strength can be a huge like self-worth problem. Like I'm seeing that with my dad. It's taken him so long to come to terms with the fact that he can't physically do the same things he was able to. I'm like, you're 70 something, dad. Like you're not going to be able to do all the things you could do as a young man. I like that they show that piece that Jesse is kind of the person who's taking over, right? That's kind of how that scene is like showing us that Jesse is the next generation of the council. And he's on the council now. That's a new one.
Yep.
So that brings us to our next scene. Ellie trains with Jesse and the town meeting. I do want to start with the couple of clips that I got just so that we can kind of get the refresh of it. Because I think these 2 scenes with Jesse and Ellie plus the council all kind of come together. I have the funny scene about Scott talking about corn because I just thought it was funny. So let's get that one first.
Which is why I keep saying we need to invest more in turkeys and less in chickens. And that brings me back to my earlier point about corn.
My earlier point.
Corn, some of you have heard me say, is not the easiest crop to grow, but it is among the fastest. You can plot a graph that shows ease and resources versus time to harvest and get...
Scott, I'm sorry, but we got to keep you on target here.
It's an open meeting. The bylaws say that...
Maybe we should stick to what everyone else came here
The
to
bylaws
discuss.
say...
I don't really have an opinion on the Seattle thing.
I don't really have an opinion on the
Thank you.
Seattle thing. He just wants to talk
So
about
that was
corn. So that was Scott. Oh my God.
It's an open meeting. Oh, he's that guy. He's talking about the rules, the bylaw. Oh, he's definitely on the HOA.
Yes.
I don't
100%.
like that they
He's
painted the
going
wrong color
around-
on the house.
He's measuring the length of your grass. He's complaining about packages on your porch. He's counseling you about the height of your fence. He's that guy.
Your
And
boat is
he's
too
like-
close to the road.
Right. He's the worst possible neighbor. Let me go into tangent a little bit. I don't know. I think I saw it on the internet. So what happened was, I guess the HOA complained about this guy's truck. It's not really a garage. It's more like a
Carport or something?
carport, right? Where you can see the cars as you walk on the sidewalk. They're like, we don't like it. It don't look good or whatever. So what he does is that he puts a fence in front of the carport so you can't see it, right? Because that's what they wanted. They wanted him to put a fence there so nobody could see the car. And then he had an artist come along and paint a photorealistic painting of the front of his truck, right? So,
That is amazing.
malicious compliance. I love it. I'm sorry
love
about
malicious
that.
compliance. And HOAs, I believe, are proof that America doesn't actually value freedom.
Right. I agree wholeheartedly.
Oh, yeah. I could have an HOA conversation for hours, but
Let's talk about what we actually came to talk about.
yeah. So let's listen to Ellie's speech. There's lots of stuff going on in this town meeting, but I think Ellie's speech is kind of what we were waiting for. So I got the whole thing, so we'll listen to Ellie's
Hold on.
speech.
I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. Go ahead.
I normally don't write things down, because I normally don't think before I talk, which has gotten me in trouble before. A lot. And it's cost me in ways that sometimes couldn't be undone. But I can't afford that right now, because I know what I'm asking is a lot. I'm asking us to risk more people and resources, and at the worst possible time. And I want everyone to know. It's not because I want revenge. It's not. It's not about revenge. Liar. What I want is what you used to give people. I want justice. Because it's either that, or we do nothing. That's what everyone else out there is going to do for us. Nothing. A whole world of people who won't lift a finger if something bad happens to me or you. We have a word for these people. They're called strangers.
Stranger danger
I don't think that we're strangers to each other. And I want to know that I can count on you. And I swear, if someone hurts any of you or the people you love, you can count on me. That's what holds all this together. Not potluck dinners or New Year's Eve dances. Definitely not a wall, because that thing got busted through, but Jackson is still here.
Walls don't work.
I'll accept whatever the council decides, but I am asking you, please, do what it takes to see that justice is done. Not for me. Not even for Joel. I am asking you, please, do it for us.
Thank you.
Wow, I almost didn't make it.
But you stayed strong.
Yeah.
So I have some questions for you guys. Obviously, I can't put everybody's argument in a clip, but how would you have voted based on the arguments presented? And then also, who do you think actually voted yes for Ellie?
Oh, who the third person was.
Oh, I couldn't tell, because I can only go with the obvious, like Tommy and Jesse. Those are the only two I can think of. Maybe Tommy's wife. I forgot what her name is. True Blood.
Maria.
Yeah.
Also, she was in Walking Dead too.
Oh, okay. I never watched that. All right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine, because they don't really focus on anybody else in the council in the series.
Sure.
Except those three, so I can't imagine anybody else outside of those three.
Oh, I 100% think Jesse did not vote for the posse.
Oh, interesting.
Based on his inability to say, yes, I'll back you up at the council meeting in the scene right beforehand. If he was going to back her up, he would have said he was going to back her up. Like
Okay.
Tommy did.
I thought he was being a paladin and saying, like, I cannot do this because the council says that I have to listen to the opinions of the people before voting.
I think it's
No
more like
way,
he
man.
doesn't. I think he does not want to get, like, if he voted for her but didn't want to tell her beforehand, if he had confirmed that he was going to vote for her, then he would probably be giving her false hope, and he probably doesn't want to do that, like, because he doesn't
I see
have
that,
an end on what everybody else is thinking, right? So he could say, yes, I'm gonna vote for you, but if you tell somebody that that's on the ends of the council that runs the town that you're gonna vote
Tommy
for
did.
them, well, Tommy said that he would bring it to the council, and that, yeah, if it comes to a vote, I would do it. But it's like, that's just one person. And he's, he would look like an asshole if he said he didn't, right? Because that's his brother, right? So you would kind of expect him to want to round up a posse and go out of town. But I think with Jesse is different. He's thinking more logically, and he's like, and this is only speculating, if he had voted for her, he wouldn't tell her beforehand because he doesn't want to raise her hopes. And maybe he actually knows what everybody else is thinking, and he knows it's not going to work.
Well, there's another clue that I think that says that he didn't vote for her, because at the end of the woman reading out all of the votes, which I thought was a really good suspenseful scene as well, he looks away and kind of looks off to the side and looks really ashamed. So that one scene plus him not telling her, because like, I'm sorry, Paul, like if you came to me and were like, Andrew's been killed and I want to take a posse out, but you're on the council, Marcy, are you going to vote for me or vice versa? I would be like, fuck yeah, I'm going to vote for you. That's the point of a vote, is you go around and you like say, I want you to vote for me. You like campaign for a thing. And the fact that he would not say that he was or wasn't meant that he kind of knew that he didn't want it to happen. Like, and then in a futures episode where he meets up with them, he's immediately like, we're going back now. I'm taking you back, you know? So anyway.
To add to that, there is a logical reason not to go out. Like if it was just that somebody like got murdered and then they wanted to go out and catch the person who did the murder, then that's one thing. But this is a town that's devastated by a zombie apocalypse. Like just now, like we just now have had a horde of zombies visit on us. They brought one of their biggest brothers, and they're lucky that like the big dude that I forgot what they're called, but the big giant zombie that goes crashing through the wall, all he does is menace people, and he's very hard to kill. But in the video game, he throws shit at you. Sorry for cursing, but I hate that. I hate it when they throw. I hate that he throws stuff at you and you have to dodge it because he throws like pollen or something like that, and it hurts when you get hit by that stuff. So they're like grenades. So those are the toughest enemies in the game. The toughest regular enemies that you have to deal with. So they just had this happen. And they have to rebuild. So trying to send out a posse in the midst of trying to rebuild is not logically conducive.
You're so right. And Jesse would have been right in making that vote.
Right.
But it still feels wrong.
It always it's gonna feel wrong.
A bit cynical of me, but in the scene where Ellie was walking around the house and like smelling Joel's jacket, I was like, yeah, I guess they don't have that housing crisis anymore.
That's exactly what Joel was talking about when what's her name was trying to get him to let more refugees into Jackson. He was like, we're running out of space as it is. So apparently there is they're coming on to a housing crisis because he was like, maybe we should just take care of our own people first. Right.
Well, there's not anymore because a lot of people died in that attack.
Which is why his house was empty for 3 months or whatever.
Right. Amazing.
Your first question was like, if I was on the council, if we were on the council, how would we have been swayed by the voices? There's the one guy who says, I'm not even a Christian, but I think mercy is the path. I think he would have swayed me because, are we going to just become this famous place that goes out and murders people? Like that's not the reputation that I would want our people to have. Like, we'll take care of our own, we'll bring people in. But like, it's too much. Like, we could ask for people to go to Seattle and say like, hey, we would like justice for this crime that has happened. But like, it'd be as two cities talking, not as like a little posse.
When that guy was talking, I was like, oh, frack that guy. That's what was going through my head. It's like, I don't want to hear all this peace, love, and happiness when that dude was viciously murdered. I mean, it's something to say for mercy, but then there's, you also require some form of justice.
Well, and that's what's going to be my next question, because it is interesting. They don't shy away from saying, go to Seattle and execute the criminals.
Oh, yeah.
So I liked that they weren't like shying away from the fact that this is what you're going to do. You're going to kill them.
Yeah.
So like, what is your idea of justice? Because I understand where Ellie is coming from. These people came in, they kidnapped Joel on purpose and then tortured him and killed him. So there's a difference between they just executed him for resources, and then you tortured him, made me watch, and then you kill him, right? So she thinks these people are horrible people. And to not have anyone, again, I have experienced the feeling of being the only one in a room who feels like they're, in the right, and then having no one or very few people agree with you in that moment. And so you feel all alone. And I feel like, again, this is a Joel and Ellie thing where they have this very clear idea of justice and what it means, and that this was somebody that I loved, you killed them, I'm coming after you, and I'm going to kill you. But is that really what justice is?
Yeah, so Tommy was saying in the previous scene, Joel would break through the doors of hell to bring you back if you were alive. But, if you're dead, he's going to fall into despair. I think that there's more justice to protecting, people who are alive. It's vengeance, not justice, if you're just torturing. That's just my first thought.
I think that, the council is not working with full information. They know that Joel was specifically targeted for some reason, but they don't know why. They don't know why he was murdered. So for all intents and purposes, it just seems from their perspective that a group of strangers came in, they found Joel, they tortured him, and they killed them. Now, this could be a raving bands of hardened criminals that just goes around killing people. And in a sense of bringing justice, theoretically speaking, you want to go stop these people from just killing random people or targeting people and killing them, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that has something to do with it. The concept of justice means that you want to people that are misbehaving, and you want to stop them from engaging in that misbehavior.
Yes.
And if that misbehavior involves killing other people or destroying their livelihood or something like that, that might require a stop measure that requires, what do you call it? A corporal punishment. Putting it in as sterile language as I can.
Yes. We hit them with the belt for murdering and torturing. Right.
Also, we're kind of taking this, looking at it from the point of view of people sitting in their rooms on a podcast and having all resources at our fingertips. Whereas, I think even if somebody came in and stole your food in an environment where, even just going outside of your walls is dangerous and you could die, that means that all those things become more precious, and we have to figure out what is the best punishment for that. And so I think to look at these scenarios and be like, we're going to put this other lens on it. Yes, she's right in some ways, and council's right in others. I think it is very apt that if she wants to do this and she can find some people to help her, then the council can't stop people from leaving. So that's kind of the problem, though, is she doesn't have a lot of friends because she's kind of prickly, because she tells it how it is, and people don't like it when there's somebody who tells you exactly what they're thinking at all times. So I think this is really what rightfully should happen, is Ellie needs to go on this journey by herself, because you can't convince a bunch of people who are safe or safer than they would otherwise be to leave that place after a huge disaster to go find some people who you don't even know if you're going to be able to get there. It's so dangerous. So
yeah, the least persuasive argument from the people in the crowd was when the gal got up on the chair and she's like, look, we all love Joel, but lots of people died that day. It's yeah, so we're talking about people killing people, not zombies, because you can't get justice or vengeance from zombies.
Yeah. Also, you killed all the zombies, so you kind of got the justice that you require. I mean, it's bad enough they were technically already dead, and basically you had to kill them again. So you got the justice required from the zombies.
Also, her argument is invalid because she had a baby in her arms beforehand, and that's why she made that argument, is because she needs people to protect her, because she is kind of, as a woman who has to constantly attach to a baby, you can't protect yourself as easily. So you need as many people there to protect you and your baby as you can. That's why she made that argument.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
I mean, not to say that that's an invalid argument, I guess, but
She's not arguing her true beliefs.
yes.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's totally fair for her to feel that way. Like, I think most of
Sure.
the people feel that it's like, we got to protect what's here and we can't risk
Right.
a bunch of people. Like, they've lost a bunch of people already through death and
100%,
zombification.
yeah.
Right. So they don't want to lose like 15 more people. We don't know how many people that the town is down, but from their perspective, it's like people are resources,
lot.
and
Yes.
right, people are resources, and they can't afford to lose more resources to for this
100%, yeah.
for this revenge. No matter how badly this revenge is desired or needed, no matter how much you believe that you're doing it for justice, you really can't afford to waste people that way.
And it's the American attitude of like, oh, if it inconveniences me, I don't really care about it.
yeah, there's some of that too.
Yeah, I want those people to protect me, not to go on your mission.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's skip to the next scene where Gail is watching Pee Wee baseball and it has to counsel Tommy. Let's listen to Gail and Tommy talk about Ellie.
What matters is you're afraid. So let's talk about it. Okay. Free of charge.
So you
just
can
don't
hear
want
her
her to
drinking.
go down the same paths that Joel did. Coming up with justifications and such. All he was really doing was lashing out.
So you think she might have learned that behavior from him? Turns out nurture can only do this much. The rest is nature. If she's on a path, it's not one that Joel put her on. No, I think they were walking side by side from the very start.
Oh, I love that line. This is where we hear that line that Gail says, walking side by side the whole time. And I think every line from this episode, or all the episodes, can make me cry now because of episode fucking 6. But it's true. Like, they are alike in so many ways, and that they were able to talk to each other because of how similar that they were. Tommy and every parent, and Zoe, you're a parent, right?
Yes.
Like, I am not, so I'm talking out my ass here, but I feel like there's a certain point when, like, your influence ends and, like, the peer influence takes hold, and then, you know, they're thinking on their own, and there's only so much you can do to try to help guide someone who's becoming of age. You know, in the end of the day, she's going to make her own decisions, and she might be going down Joel's path, but there's not a lot they can do at this point to stop it.
Yeah. We kind of see that with Ellie. Like, in the previous season, you saw a flashback of her when she was being brought up in that that military installation where they were training her to be a soldier. And you see a lot of that personality before she even met Joel, and how she was rebellious even then. And she was in front of her commanding officer even then, being lectured about how to get along. And now we see her flash forward a few years later. And I don't know, it's not in this episode, but so I won't talk about it too much, but we will see how Ellie is, like you said, is pulling away from Joel. Not really pulling away, but it's like you can see her, like that peer influence that you talked about. Mm-hmm. So you see the peer influence, that having to make her own decisions or doing things that Joel had not considered that she would do, because like you said, he's trying to keep her at like 15 or 14 or however old she is. It's like he's trying to keep her young. And at 19 years old, she's really pulled away from Joel, but still acting like Joel.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to just push back a teeny bit, and I don't feel like it's Joel trying to make her stay that specific age so much as he's never gotten past 15 with a child before. He doesn't know what to do next.
Yeah, we're all like that as parents, though. We're all like, it's like we especially when it's our first child, we don't know. It's like when you first see your child, like he's like 15 years old and he's doing something, like, I didn't teach him that. Where'd kids are getting that from? Or exactly. It's like when you first have this, like, I don't know, let's go and play some video games. Let's pull you back to where I was teaching you, but then they're watching other media. They're playing different games than you play. They're not liking the movies that you like anymore. It's like, I didn't raise this kid.
Somebody replaced it while I was sleeping.
Right.
I guess if you're lucky, they'll come back around to it, right? I mean, and that's part of that childhood thing, is that you want to reject all the things that your parents like because it's stupid and because it's your parents.
But then one day you'll be popping people's kneecaps while torturing them.
Right.
Because my mom is just shocked that I'm a gardener. And, like, I can remember going to nurseries and being like, this is so boring. I hate plants.
Right.
And now I'm like, I gotta go to the nursery 20 times a day, you know? So it's in there, Zoe, all those things. It's just that you have to reject the thing before you recognize the value of it as you get older, and that's just part of life.
And then you have truly chosen it.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And then, do you feel the same as Gail, that there's some people who just can't be saved?
I'll let you go, Paul. It looked like you were about to say something.
I kind of feel, yes. In the same way that, like, a dog who's tasted man flesh needs to be put down, I think there's some people who've just gone a little too far, and, like, it's just not worth the effort of putting him in prison forever. Now, I'm not saying I'm pro-death penalty, but in this society, that's probably what I would lean toward, is like the expedient, like, yeah, just get rid of the problem, and it's not a problem anymore.
I don't think that Ellie is, like, on a path where she's, like, irredeemable, like, or that she's in danger of being, like, a violent misanthrope or something like that. So I think it's more like when she says she can't be saved, is more, to me, I feel like it's more in the context of, well, she can't be brought back into your exact values or your exact moral understanding of morality or something like
because
that.
She was never there.
Right. Like, I think Ellie's going to have her own understanding of morality, but I don't think that includes her being like a violent criminal. I mean, she's going to be violent, obviously, but not like she's going to want to get revenge, I think, but not violent where she's going to be attacking like everyone she meets or something like that.
Yeah, she's not a psychopath or a serial killer.
Yeah, that's a better description.
Yeah, I think we do have to understand that there are certain types of people who are like, whatever happened in their brain, do not have empathy. And I don't think that Ellie doesn't have empathy. I think that she is actually quite sensitive, and that's why she like is so reactive. She is like a reactive dog that's scared and been hit and been all kinds of horrible things happen to her. So she's just reacting violently to that, right? And she's reacting to her world. Their world is violent, so you have to be violent in return.
That's nurture, not nature, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's complicated is the answer, right? Because
it is, absolutely.
I think there are definitely people who haven't done horrible, terrible things that I don't think they can change. Like, because people get into these thought ideas and then they don't get out of them and they think they're right. And like the fact that that person thinks they're right and I know I'm right means that there is no in between, right? Like, there's lots of people in this country right now that it's shocking. Like, some people can change their minds, but others can't. And like, how can they not see that they are wrong? And so I think
I like how you put
so
that. Polite. You don't understand. You're wrong, and I'm right. You just have to accept that.
Anyway, it's an interesting question.
I think there's also different kinds of right and wrong. Like, if you think that two guys kissing is so wrong and slavery is not, like, your wrong is stupid.
Right. Also, there's I think in today's political climate, I think of less in something being right and wrong and more in the lines of, well, these types of thoughts are in line with the U.S. Constitution, and these type of thoughts are not aligned with the U.S. Constitution.
Right.
And then there are some people they make an argument where it's like, well, these people have not read the U.S. Constitution, and I don't understand because
100%, yeah.
I watched Schoolhouse Rock many times, so
Yeah.
so I have a better idea of what's in the Constitution, and then there's Law and Order that I watched a lot, so I kind of understand what that means. Like I knew what
I love
habeas
this.
corpus was because of
That's awesome.
Law and Order, and what was the other one? There was that one and L.A. Law. You know,
Just don't say 24.
If you think empathy is a bad word, then there's something wrong with you, because the empathy is about seeing something from someone else's shoes and perspective. And honestly, I think this is what this whole season is going to be about. Because we know there's an int. Don't tell me, Zoe and Paul, don't tell me.
Oh.
But
I would just say that this show, well, I don't know if the show is going to follow the game, but the game manipulates empathy. It's like it takes your empathy and it twists it into like you ever see those balloons that a clown has and they start twisting it around to form an animal balloon? That's what the game does to your empathy. And it's like, and that's why there was such controversy over this game when it came out.
Because you're forced to see something from someone else's perspective, like Abby's perspective versus Ellie's. And that speech that Ellie gives is almost a complete, it's not exactly the same, but it's very similar to Abby's speech in episode 1 at the very beginning. Like, I want to get revenge. I want you guys to come with me. She just happened to have like 5 more friends than Ellie. And
she had the posse.
Yes. There are so many parallels between the two. So let's get on to the next scene. That's enough moral philosophizing. So Ellie and Dina prepare to leave, and Seth helps them.
Okay, so this scene is yet another lie from Ellie, because she's a liar. And she's like, I'm just going to bed. And then Dina walks in and she's like, look, I've clocked you. I know what you're going to do. I know how you think. I've been planning because I'm actually caring about this issue and not just like throwing my revenge out into the world. Like, we're gonna do this right. Have you thought about directions? Have you thought about medicine? Oh, if you get a splinter, you could die. Like, come on, Ellie, think of these things. You don't just have plot armor. Like, you broke ribs in that last encounter. It was really well thought of by Dina. And Ellie shows that gun and Dina's like, well, don't use that gun except for the execution, because it's not the best weapon for the job most of the time. There's some good stuff in this scene.
I've got a little clip from it. This is a really funny take on our favorite young man, Jesse.
Everything else is what you'd figure except this. Boots. Love the Converse. Respect your consistency. But you're not crossing open country in fucking Chucks.
I've done it before.
No Chucks. Questions.
Yeah, one. How the fuck are we gonna get all of this?
I know, guy.
Oh, no. No, don't tell me you told Jesse, please.
Captain Wyoming? No. I love the man, but he's a little uptight about rules and shit. Wear all the clothes you're gonna bring. Fill your pockets with ammo. Everything else needs to fit inside a holster or your backpack. We'll meet by the old East Gate, 3 a.m. 3 a.m.
Hey. Thank you.
You know, you could have just asked.
No, I actually didn't know that.
Aw.
Now you do.
I feel so alone.
That line is going to hurt so much later.
You know, it's funny is that Dina, I forgot her name for a second. So Dina really is the brain of the operation over here, because Ellie was just going to go out. If she only had like a couple of changes of clothes, if that, she probably wasn't going to bring any clothes. She probably wasn't going to bring any food. She was just going to go right out there. It's like she's a child running away from home, like the way she plans stuff, right? She doesn't think, and Dina is just thinking about all of the things that they might come across, and planning for those things. And she continues to do it like in succeeding episodes. So Dina really is the thing that Ellie relies on in order to accomplish her goals. So she's a key figure in this whole enterprise.
Yeah, because Joel was the planner. She never had to do any of that in the first one. And she, I guess, didn't pick any of those skills up.
I do love that her idea of packing is like 18 guns. It's such a very kid-like response, even though she's 19. Like, okay, all I need is a bunch of guns to go kill these people. Let's go.
That's what she got from the action movies, I bet.
Yeah, exactly. And I do love that they call Jesse Captain Wyoming. So hilarious.
I was driving through Wyoming the other day to get here to Denver, and I was looking for Jackson Hole the whole time on signs. I think I'm going to try and find it on the way back.
My mom worked in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Okay.
And she was one of those ice cream scooper girls way back in the day in the 50s. Or I guess it was the 60s. And she met some kind of cowboy guy that fell in love with her, and she dated him. But this is after she and my dad broke up for a second. They were high school sweethearts. And so he asked her to marry him, and she rejected him to go back to my dad.
Wow.
So I might be like a Wyoming cowgirl if my mom hadn't gone back to my Alaska dad.
You would have been Captain Wyoming. Like, you're going to get in trouble if you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Lasso the horse.
So we get kind of a redemption moment for Seth a little bit here. And I do think it shows you there, again, this empathy thing that they're trying to get you to shove down our throats, that, you know, people can have dueling ideas. They can think one thing, but like you said in our previous episode too, Paul, it's your actions after the fact that kind of matter, that we should allow people to actually change their minds and not humiliate them for it. And so that's the thing, like...
We should stop calling him... what did we say?
The bigot.
The bigot, right?
Yeah.
No, here's the thing. I think he's still a bigot, but he's learning not to speak out. Well, see, on the one hand, at the party, he was drunk, and his controls were down. His, like, people, especially bigots, when they have these ideas or they have these opinions, they tend to button up when they're out in public spaces. But then you drink alcohol, your judgment fails, and then you say stuff out of turn. Not that the alcohol turns you into a bigot, but you're less afraid of saying your feelings. Or when you get and then you get offended and you want to speak up and speak out or whatnot, and you forget that what you're saying might be inappropriate, or the way that you say them. Like he could have still been a bigot and not been drunk, but he could have quietly pulled him off to the side and told him how he was offended. He would have still been wrong, but at least he wouldn't have been loud and in front of people telling everybody.
Sure.
That's true.
But he would have still been wrong. But I think I actually think his redemption was when he offered his apology, even though he was made to apologize. Or maybe it was his idea to apologize, where he realized he was wrong and he apologized to Ellie. Not that Ellie has to accept his apology or even acknowledge that he said anything, but he did what he had to do in order to basically closed his account. He made them some sandwiches for free and then sent them on their way to do that patrol. So, and then and then he stood up for her in the meeting. Not necessarily for her, but that a member of their clan was attacked and he wanted to get justice for that member. And then when he went and helped Ellie. So I think it's less about him trying to redeem himself for Ellie than him. I think it's more of an empathy thing on his side. I think he's more empathetic to what Ellie is going through. And I think maybe and I think maybe some of that has to do with him wanting to want Ellie to forgive him. And she finally gives in. What's the word I'm looking for?
Shaking his hand?
She shook his hand, but
begrudgingly.
Very hesitantly. Yeah, begrudgingly. That is the word. Begrudgingly shaking his hand and acknowledging that. And that's kind of her way of accepting his apology.
Yeah.
But
it's such like a Joel way to do it, too.
Yeah.
Not say any words, but we're shaking hands.
Right.
You know?
right.
Like, again... And you're right. I think this is him acknowledging again, like I think Paul said, you could say it again now, but that you can have differing values, but you can still live in the same space and be respectful of each other. And that, like, kind of what we've been saying is that it's none of your business what other people are doing, like in their sex lives. Like, we can still be human beings and care about the others around us without having to agree with every single thing that they do. And I think they're trying to kind of push that idea, which is an important idea that we've kind of lost in this country.
Oh, also, Marcy, you keep calling him the bigot. In my notes, I didn't know what his name was. In my notes, I call him the a-hole.
I love it.
I mean, he's definitely always going to be an a-hole.
Yes.
I think, I agree.
Great little snipe that she gave because he was walking with a limp and he's like, oh, I caught some friendly fire. And she's like, well, are you sure it was friendly?
Yeah,
yes,
so good.
That was funny. I also want to point out that I think that Joel at least initially felt the same way as Seth did, not as far as Ellie's sexuality, because like he burst into a room. I think it was a previous episode, and maybe it's a future episode. It's an upcoming episode.
It's episode 6,
right? Oh yeah, I did mention that. But I think that he had to come to terms with her sexuality, and then when he saw Seth, I think Seth reminded him of himself, and then him and Ellie, and like Joel and Ellie are kind of on the outs, and his view of her sexuality was kind of part of that. And so when you saw Seth treating Ellie that way, Joel just did that side check, right?
Yeah, so good.
It's like I'm learning how to deal with it now. You're going to learn how to deal with it.
Yeah. If I have to beat it into your thick skull.
Right. Everybody's going to treat her. If I have to treat her with dignity and respect, you're going to treat her with dignity and respect.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Yeah, so the next scene is just pretty simple. It's that Ellie visits Joel's grave. And again, a beautiful scene that's quiet and silent. And you get to see that gorgeous view. She goes to his grave and leaves some coffee beans there for him. And a little bit different, but still a parallel to Abby's scene in episode 1 at the gravesite, where Abby is just filled with revenge and didn't have time to mourn, really, her father. And Ellie is given this moment to mourn Joel.
Did you count how many gravestones there were?
I didn't this time, no.
So it was hard to see from the angle, but it looked like 8 rows with like 8 to 10. So something like 64 dead people, maybe up to 100, but that's the range. And then also, his headstone was really worn for being just 3 months old.
I thought that might have been wood because my thought process was I don't know if they're going to go through all the trouble of finding stones to carve into. And I'm thinking that's wood. And wood is easy to work with, and it's easier to come by as evidence that the town is like, they're getting fresh wood from somewhere. Yeah. So I thought those were wood. And so maybe they use some old pieces of wood because they don't want to use their newest pieces of wood to make headstones, right? So they probably use older pieces of wood.
Thank you.
The thing about the thing about the coffee grounds, I love how they, in this show, they plant seeds of stuff that's going to happen in the future episodes, because I think we got a sense that Joel likes coffee, but it just never occurred to me because he puts the coffee beans by him. And I understand that, coffee beans are going to be really hard to come by in this time period. But it didn't strike me until a later episode. It's like, oh yeah, I guess Joel really has a hard time getting coffee and he really loves coffee. And so, oh yeah, that's right. Because in the previous season, he introduces her to coffee and she says it tastes like piss or something like that. Right? She doesn't like it. She doesn't like the taste of black coffee, and it's probably a lot. Probably what they got. Right? You got black coffee. You're not going to get a latte. Is that's going to be rare? So,
and I think there was a throwaway line in the game where Dina and Ellie are both like, "Ew, coffee." Like,
right.
Water,
So I like that they kind of plant that in order to reinforce it later on. They do a lot of that in this series.
Yeah, I know that they're dried coffee beans, but it'd be pretty hilarious if she comes back and there's like a coffee bean tree there.
Not Naomi's climate. No.
So yeah, very sweet scene. Again, tearful for me. I mean, I'm not weeping or anything, but some tears were probably in my eyes watching this scene. And then we get our famous beloved scenes. Paul and I really like the scenes of traveling because you get a lot of really wide sweeping vistas. So Dina and Ellie are traveling and not running into much trouble. We get kind of a funny sequence of them where Dina makes up a game of favorite bands, starting with each letter of the alphabet. Ellie tells the tale of her second kill, but won't talk about her first kill. Dina knows there's going to be a storm. The girls talk the night of the dance in the tent. Dina brings up the kiss. Dina talks about Jesse. Dina reveals that he seems sad and she doesn't want it to be about her. And then Dina says, I wasn't that high about the kiss. So we've got a couple of clips from these moments. So let's start with the one where Dina asks about Ellie's first kill.
Let me see a new topic.
Or silence.
Got one. First person you killed.
Jesus, really?
Yeah, fun stories of childhood.
Okay, well, the first one's too fucked up, but I can tell you the second one.
I accept.
It was a little before Joel and I got to Jackson. In Kansas City, he got jumped by this kid, maybe just a couple years older than me. And I came up behind him, raised my gun, and, yeah.
Oh. Sorry, Ellie.
Interesting. I shoot a guy and he feels sorry for me.
I'm just loyal like that.
So a lot of things. First, when I was first listening to this part in the show, I was thinking into the game when Joel was like smashed down on the rebar, and I totally forgot about the kid who was like, don't kill me, please don't kill me. My name is Zach or whatever." In the game, this is a scene that's like a cutscene that you're walking through, and it does talk about the time, that rebar time, and also Dina shares her first kill afterwards, and that's notably missing from this part of this episode, but it does happen later. So they keep some of the dialogue, but they stretch it out and like make it more like references to past things, and like not exactly breadcrumbing, but like it's still there. Keep listening.
Yeah, I don't remember this part in the game, but it does draw me back to that part that Ellie's talking about, when she had to kill that kid. And that's one of the hardest things in the game that you come across. It's like when you actually have to do it. I don't remember if it's a cutscene or that you actually are controlling Ellie at the time. When it happens, you're like, oh man, that's messed up, right?
Yeah.
That's why I think it's interesting that people think because you play violent games that you're going to be like a horrible killer. And this game, my history of this game is that this is the first time that I was like, oh my God, like these games can have amazing stories. It's a story that you're following, and you have these moments that you're required to make these ethical decisions that may or may not align with how you feel. I think it actually makes you feel more empathetic because you're required to actually play that role and be that person. And so I do know what you're talking about in terms of what scene later comes up where Dina reveals her backstory. And then we learn a little bit more about why Dina is loyal to Ellie, because she craves in someone the same feelings that she has, which is deep loyalty to your loved ones, right? I love that this show is helping people understand why people like video games.
games are way different now than they were in the beginning. Like when before, when you had to debate over violence in video games, it's just when they became more realistic looking, right? So the first one of the video games that had triggered congressional hearing was this game called Night Trap. And this game specifically used real video. It was like an early version of like they're using real videos in video games. So you're watching the video, and the video that you're watching is part of the game. You push a button to do an action, and then the action takes place in a video. It's almost like a push to click adventure, except they're doing it with video. So there's a lot of violent imagery in that game. And then the other video game was Mortal Kombat. And Mortal Kombat famously
I remember that.
found a way to put the film of actors into a video game setting. So it looks like real people. And the thing about it is like it's cartoon blood, but still a lot of violence. And there's not a lot of morality or anything about that game. It's just a fighting game, people fighting against each other. And that's the, what caused all of this commotion about video games. Well, that and, like first person shooters and stuff like that came along later. But a lot of that, what made people think that violent video games made people violent. But you have violent video games in other countries and they don't have the problems that we have in the United States. So it's a failed argument, but they're going to continue to make that bad argument as long as they can. When in Japan, they play this and worse games and games that cannot be released in the United States. And they don't have the violent problems that we have over in this country.
It's just our nature.
Not our nature.
I'm kidding.
I don't know. I don't know if it's our nature like that.
And that just swings right back to the empathy thing. Like, we learn experiences of other people through these stories, and it can be books, it can be video games, it can be songs, like murder ballads. Like, you learn about Mac the Knife and you're like, what a cool song, and I never want to do that.
Right. Or like a song like Ice Cube, "Today Was a Good Day." I was like, well, I'm glad my day isn't measured by whether or not I'm carrying around an AR-15 or an AK-47.
And also think about it from the perspective of somebody who may not be able to experience social situations in the same way that others do. Like, people with disabilities can often have a community of people that they're able to hang out with online, and where otherwise somebody might not talk to them on the street because they're in a wheelchair and can't speak in the same way that we speak. And there's stories about that too, like how important other ways of being social is now, because the pandemic especially has kept us inside, so we need to still socialize. Oh, we got the video game debate on our episode, so that's good.
All from talking about favorite artists, starting with alphabetical.
Yeah. Let's listen to the scene where Dina asks about the kiss.
Okay, but I have a stupid question. It's about New Year's Eve and, the kiss.
The kiss. Okay. I mean, whatever, you were super high.
And you were drunk.
Right, so it doesn't mean anything, if that's what you're asking.
No, I know that. My question is, how would you rate it? Scale of 1 to 10.
No.
Come on. You've kissed girls before.
You're just getting
You're
yourself in
gay,
trouble.
I'm not.
You're gay,
I'm just
I'm
curious. Want to know if I'm any good at it. 1 to 10.
Okay, fine, 6.
Fuck you, 6. That's not bad. That sucks. For the record, I don't believe you.
Well, you asked, and I told you. I'm sorry. You can go back to Jesse.
I already did.
Well, there you have it.
I think this illustrates awkward teen love very well, where you want somebody, but you don't know how to express that straightforwardly. So you're asking them all these like weird questions about rate my kiss, even though I'm not gay. I don't want you to try it again, but
And it didn't
maybe.
mean anything, but
Yeah. And I love Ellie because she is a lesbian, so she has kissed lots of girls, so she probably has had a better kiss than that one that was probably smelled like alcohol and had a bunch of mixed feelings involved instead of somebody who just is kissing you because they want you and there's not all these complicated other things happening. I just think it was a really good moment to keep this idea that they're kind of awkward, they're feeling each other out. I mean, we know something's going to happen eventually, but when and how?
I think Dina describing herself as in saying that you're gay, I'm not. I think that's accurate in that she's not saying that she's straight. She's saying that she's bisexual or
that's
queer.
fair.
So
Yes.
I think, but she's not exactly vocalizing it in that way. I think she's still trying to be kind of standoffish, maybe a little bit. Because she's trying to gauge Ellie's reactions. She's trying to be careful, I believe, before she goes in wholeheartedly. And maybe she's not sure of her own feelings. Like she's still awkward with her own feelings. So she doesn't want to admit like her full feelings for Ellie, at least not right then and there, especially when the things that we find out about her later on in the other episodes.
Yeah, I don't actually think she does know how she identifies in this moment. I think it takes a really scary moment for her to admit to herself. And we can say, like, in a upcoming scene, she describes a scenario where our parents have an influence on what we think, and her mom said something to her that made her reject that queer side of herself because she didn't want to make her family upset, right? And so I think it does make sense that you would still struggle with that for a long time. I mean, everybody still struggles with that, figuring out who we are, who we want to love, how we want to love, because it is a confusing time because your hormones are doing all kinds of crazy shit when you grow up.
When you know you have feelings for whichever sex that usually the opposite sex, if you grow up in certain household, you have certain feelings for the opposite sex. I think maybe in Dina's case, she had feelings for all sexes, and then your parents telling you, no, you only have feelings for this one sex. So there's that dissonance comes in, and
Yeah,
it comes from an authority too, who also says like you can't eat candy all the time with the same
right.
Like I'm correct on this.
right. Well, they do happen to be correct. You can't eat candy all the time,
Exactly.
unfortunately.
It's a different issue.
Yeah, my teeth tells the tale of eating too much candy.
So for me on this scene, I mostly just wanted to illustrate or like portray how different this was from the game in an interesting way. So in the game, they're not like far from town. They're actually in Eugene's weed house. And, shortly before this scene, they pulled up a gas mask bong to show how genius Eugene is. But yeah, so like they end up having fade to black, some kind of sex.
Oh, okay.
Dina asked for the rating of the kiss, and Ellie refused to answer. And so Dina was the one who said it was a 6 to try and like prod Ellie more. And I thought, it's fine. The scene did fine. But I thought that the Dina prodding with a 6 was more interesting.
Yeah, really trying to get Ellie to open up more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's curious. I mean, Dina is definitely the more extroverted of the two, and she seems very bold in other scenarios. But Ellie is also a very closed person, like didn't even know Dina would want to come with her.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that Dina is having a hard time opening up to Ellie because Ellie's reactions are so like that dog that's going to bite you. She doesn't know if she's going to get the slash or she's going to get the like kiss.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that she's a little afraid to be vulnerable with Ellie because Ellie is not vulnerable with anybody but Joel.
I forgot to say when they were doing the music guessing, and then we played the clip where Dina said a new topic, and Ellie was just like, or silence. Ellie was being Joel there.
Yeah, like, or we could just not do this.
Right.
As the girls move forward, they find the dead Seraphites and arrive at Seattle, and the WLF make an appearance. Did we talk about the Seraphite part? Did we miss that? I guess we did a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't cover it already. That it was a little vignette that they did when they had, and I forgot when they did it. I want to say it was like at the beginning of the episode, or was it later on?
It was right. We got way into the meeting first, but it was right after.
That's the problem with binging. It's like somewhere in there it happened.
It was. Oh, yeah, it was right after Ellie talks to Tommy about making the posse, and he says, we got to talk to the council. Then they cut. That it was such a quick, it was just like a hard cut to these randos.
Right.
That, like, I'm not surprised I forgot to talk about it. But yeah, earlier on, you meet the Seraphites, which you actually don't learn their name until later, but it's a cult group with like slashes on their face, and this guy's kind of explaining their philosophy to his daughter, and she's asking about the whistles, which are like signals that they send to each other, and then they hear the signal for danger, and she's like, who are they? Are they demons? And the dad says, no, they're wolves. And so we get a little glimpse of this cult type of group, and you have no idea why until this scene where the girls run across them dead and massacred, and they're like, the wolves are evil, obviously.
They killed children.
They killed children.
Now, what's funny is that I had forgotten what they were called from the game because I was struggling to remember, because I remembered the symbol and I remembered the woman that they revered or worshiped, but I couldn't remember the name. And so I think in the later episodes, the wolves call them scars.
Scars,
right?
Yep.
And it's like, I guess that's what they're called. And then only when I watched, I guess it was the episode after the episode, but it was behind the scenes, and they mentioned, oh yeah, these are Seraphim. This is the first time we look at the Seraphim. I was like, oh, that's right. That's what they're called. And I didn't like them in the game either. They were a-holes in the game.
Yeah. The guy talking to his daughter was like the nicest I'd ever thought of them.
Yeah. Right. Just another faction that you have to deal with. And now we get to see them in the show.
And it's interesting how they do these really good, tricky scenes for people who've never played the game. Because I haven't played the game, I'm like, oh, look at this innocent. I mean, they look like cults, but they look really innocent and nice. And then, like, later, you're like, you tricked me, show! Like, these are worse than the wolves!
I think in the game, you slowly come across their symbols. You see their symbols everywhere. And then later on, all of a sudden they're shooting at you, right? So I think that's how you come across
and you're
them.
like, you bastards! I'm supposed to be able to know where everything is. That's the core mechanic.
When I play the game, I always like to do it the stealthiest possible way. So like crawling in the grass, sneaking up behind somebody, and choking them out, stabbing them.
Exactly.
That's the way I like to do it. But, it don't always work that way.
Think that I want to do it the stealthy way, but then I end up just like punching people to death because I'm so bad at using a controller.
It's like, oh no, there she is, and then everybody starts shooting at you.
yeah, exactly. I
And
die
then you're
so
just like,
much.
fuck, shit. Shoot it.
Yeah. And I'm so bad at the controller that I end up like killing the bad guys by shooting them in the dick every time because I can't get it up enough to get to their head in time. All right, so we have this scene, the first time we see Dina vomit, and that happens a lot. And
did you immediately suspect it, Marcy?
this is the first time that, I was like, why is Dina being such a bitch? She keeps like puking. I was like, she's so wimpy. Ellie is so strong. And then later I was like, oh, I obviously don't think about pregnant women ever because she talks tough, but she keeps puking all over the place. But we get tons of like Curtis and Viper references in this like whole sequence before they come upon the group of dead Seraphites, Ellie goes, "It's quiet." No, wait.
That's the Ninja Turtles.
Yes. Dina says, "It's quiet." And then Ellie goes, "Yeah, too quiet." And then Dina's like, "Curtis or Viper?" And she says, "Both in all 4 movies." And I think that's actually when they enter Seattle, to correct myself for the 8th time.
Watching that scene was funny for me, having, driven to Seattle plenty of times from multiple different directions. I was like, that view couldn't have been from the north because the Space Needle's on the wrong side.
But it was a really cool thing to see because we're on the West Coast, like our city close to us represented in the TV show, and to see it like destroyed, that was really cool.
Yeah, and I didn't realize when I first watched, the playthrough, they go to a theater, a venue, and I've been to the Paramount, and it's I think it's called Pinnacle in the game, so we'll see that. But it's like, oh, the Paramount, that's where I saw Marina. It's my first concert after COVID. I love this place.
That's cool. I have one more Curtis and Viper clip. This is the last clip when they do actually come upon Seattle's skyline.
Wow. Fucking Seattle. Pretty.
Plus, no one's shooting at us. Guess there aren't that many wolves.
You wish.
There's about to be a whole lot less.
Curtis or Viper?
What? No. That was just me. I was trying to sound like a badass. You don't need to try.
Aww.
I thought it was so cute the way Dina did that too, like her facial expression and the way she like pulls her head back. It was like, yeah, she's flirting, she's a little cautious, like it's very new relationship energy.
I just enjoyed that Ellie is sort of vulnerable in that moment where she's like, I was trying to sound like a badass. And Dina recognized that she's trying to look cool for Dina. And so she reinforces that,
like,
yes, I know you're a badass and I appreciate that about you.
Right. That's why I like you. That's why she says you don't have to try. You're like, you're already cool when I first met you.
Yeah.
You had me at hello.
And I love this soft music in the background. It's bringing in some of the music, I think, from the first season with her and Joel. I think this was the music that they played when she sees the giraffes or close to it. So just like very soft. This is like kind of the last time you're going to see them where they're not constantly running from danger. So it's good. And from that scene, we get the POV of a wolf, which is Manny from Abby's gang.
Yep.
One of the assholes from her gang. So definitely clocked all the people that didn't want torture and the people that liked the torture. And he was one that liked the torture. And he's spotting for the wolves. I thought that he was going to see them, but he doesn't. And then pans out and you see this like huge army basically walking through the streets of Seattle. And that's the end of the episode.
I was just thinking that, wow, that the wolves are serious. There's so many of them. And they got equipment and everything. They're a for real army, right? It portends to what shall happen in the future.
I was kind of shocked that they're a true like militia. Because the first game is so much of them just moving through these smaller settlements kind of that have been created. And the Fireflies, of course, are larger, but that's at the beginning of the game and kind of the end of the game. So the fact that she has to contend with this huge, almost insurmountable problem of a whole army, it
with
was
like
kind of
armored
shocking.
Vehicles, yeah.
Like, how is she going to get to her goal? It's sort of, again, paralleling at Abby talking about how I didn't realize this is a big community. Like, how are we going to find this Joel in a haystack? Like, I don't know.
I like that.
Just by luck, I guess. Again, maybe it's just going to be like for luck for Ellie to find Abby. I don't know.
Just that easy. And then she'll get out and then the cycle will start again.
What struck me is how remarkable, like this is pretty much through the whole series, how a lot of the outdoor vistas, they look so much like what you see in a game. I think it's the colors, they got the temperature of the scene, like just right. It's like, I just love how it looks like the game, like certain scenes that you see them in. So one of the scenes that kind of struck me is like, I don't think they showed in this episode, but when they get to the theater for the first time and you're like, oh my God, that looks exactly like a theater, the way it's presented in the game, right? And that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm always, taken aback when I see those scenes.
Yeah, I love how you described it, the temperature of the scene.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel when I look at it. Especially how they mix the green nature parts in with the destruction of the landscape of the man-made things. I feel like is so well done and exactly like what I remember the game being like.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, I like that we've kind of moved away from a lot of the sad stuff and we're getting into more action. And the next episode is definitely a more action-based scenes. This show does a great job of taking you on these, like you said, the balloon reference, the emotional ups and downs. And empathy, balloon making, like twisting you up, because that's
putting you
really
in the shape that they want.
right, exactly, and like tricking you and lying to you, and oh my gosh, they do a great job with the tone of these episodes, like taking you through all these different twists and turns. So I almost think this is a better season than the previous season, but probably it's just because I'm watching it now. But I think because of the tricking aspect of making it surprising for me, since I haven't played 2, it really, some of these scenes and the ways that they're doing things were a big surprise to me. And I'm the kind of person that's watched so much media, as you know, Zoe, like that I feel like I can guess things. So the fact that I can't always tell where it's headed is a good thing.
Is this changing your opinion on spoilers at all?
Well, only because it's a story that I am extremely interested in because of playing the first game.
Okay.
I want to see how it ends. Yeah, spoiler free.
Okay.
Because it seems like it is going to surprise me, and I don't want the surprise at the beginning.
Okay. Right. I was just going to say that we hadn't gotten to the part where everybody hates. So I'm so eagerly looking forward to seeing how that's going to play out and how people are going to react. And I've also heard that they're splitting this into 2 seasons. So like the Last of Us Part 2 is actually going to be 2 and 3 seasons, 2 and 3. So I want to see how they're doing it, how they're going to split it up, or why they're doing it that way. Because I didn't feel like the second game was all that more robust than the first game, and also they tend to add a lot to these stories. So, like in the first season, they added that story with the 2 guys that Joel had known, and it's like in a game. Yeah. Right. And in the game, it's like there's just references to them. Mm-hmm. I don't think you actually see them in the game, but in the show, they have this whole story like laid out for you to enjoy. So that's amazing. That's something that they added. So it makes me wonder. I mean, we've already seen certain things that they've added to this story in season 2. So I'm looking forward to some of the things that they continue to add that makes sense, that they add that blends perfectly well with the original story without messing it up. Because this is something that you can easily mess up, and they haven't messed it up yet. And it's amazing the way they did it. It's just fantastic writing, and I just can't wait to see how they change it up. How they're going to mess with people's emotions, how they're going to take that empathy animal balloon and what shape they're going to twist it into.
Well, let me make some predictions then, because you're saying that there's another scene that everybody hates. Keep your faces completely still. No giving things away. But, all right, so the worst possible outcome that I could think of, based on the clues that Paul and Zoe have been throwing out there this episode, is if Ellie actually doesn't get her revenge on Abby and doesn't kill Abby, but Abby kills Ellie, and then you have to be Abby the rest of the game or follow Abby the rest of the season. That would be the worst possible outcome that I could think of. Or you're playing Dina and Abby, which Dina would be okay. I mean, I could see Ellie sacrificing herself for her now mama, you know. God, but to like not have one of the main characters that you followed from the very beginning be alive would probably be really bad.
Well, we already had that happen.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when I heard that Pedro Pascal, I think he did say he was in season 2 and season 3. And at first I was wondering how they're going to do that. They must going to extend the part where they're going to delay where Joel gets killed until like the end, either the end of the second season or maybe in the middle of the second season. It's like, it's going to be a delay, but it's like, no, they killed him right away in the second episode, exactly where it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And he just comes back in flashbacks. And I was like,
Right.
oh, that's how they're going to do it, because there are a lot of flashbacks in this season. So I was surprised that he had died when he did. And it's like, I'm surprised all over again.
Yeah.
Even though I know it happens.
Well, I knew it was going to happen, and I was hoping that they wouldn't do it. So my other prediction, what would be not as horrible, but still, like, she doesn't kill Abby and they become friends somehow, which I think would be just a horrible thing to happen. No, just kidding. I don't know. Like, I think based on what you're not telling me, but telling me, I think they're going to do another kill off of Ellie. And then it's going to be like the end of the game is going to be Dina standing with like baby Jesse and
Baby
Dina.
Jesse.
Yeah. And be like, or baby Elliot. There you go.
Yeah.
And this is your mom, and she died to save my life and yours or something. That's how Marcy's brain thinks, but don't tell me.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't tell you. I would only say it has similarities with Desperado. I will only say that.
Oh,
and
interesting.
I can't wait to talk. Do you know what I'm talking about, Paul?
No, I haven't seen Desperado.
Okay.
but-
Man, it's been a
No,
long
Marcy
time
has.
since I've watched Desperado.
You got to watch it. It's one of Robert Rodriguez's best movies. I love
Okay.
that. It's corny and it's stupid, but I absolutely love it.
And remind me, who are the main actors in that? Because then I'll know. Is that the one with Salma Hayek?
Yes. And
Oh, I have to watch it now.
yeah, Antonio Banderas. Yeah, she does
Oh.
I don't want to mess it up for you, but she does a nude scene that she didn't necessarily want to do.
Oh.
But since doing that movie, she's got more comfortable with doing nudity scenes. But in that early in her career, she did not necessarily want to do it. But and they didn't have like, what do you call them? Sensitivity trainers or
Yeah.
counselors. They didn't have those back in 1980s. But yeah, that was a fun movie to watch. I'll say that.
Oh, lots of explosions. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's the one with him with the guitar case, right?
Yes,
And the guns.
and there are guns in the guitar.
Okay, it's all coming.
Yes.
Ooh. Oh.
So it's the same as that. So ridiculous and hilarious.
A
Right, right,
shootout. Okay.
And
all
then
right.
I'll circle back when we get to the part that we're all talking about. We'll circle back to you. I'll send you an email or something, and then we'll talk
Yeah.
about, or maybe I'll get a chance to come back on,
Oh,
and
hell
we'll
yeah.
talk about
Yeah,
if
of
you picked up
course.
the clue on Desperado that I'm laying out there. I feel like I've given
Oh.
it away.
Now I don't want to watch it just in case. Next episode is day 1, and so we'll be reviewing that one. And again, I think this is an aptly named episode where Ellie is put on the path to revenge, where she's going to end up on that twisty empathy balloon. We don't know, but it's going to go somewhere. And so we'll let Zoe go ahead and plug your podcast. What are you up to? What's happening?
By the time you hear this recording, the next episode is going to be out. My next episode is on the Addams Family. My previous episode, and my previous episode that I just published, it's Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. But
I love Remo Williams.
Yeah, so I haven't even recorded that episode yet. I just watched the movie. So I'll be doing that, and then after that I'll be doing the Addams Family, because I'm in that lane now. I don't have a specific theme that I do. It's just whatever movie that I feel like talking about that was really popular back in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, that, you know, movies that I grew up with. Those are the movies that I tend to talk about.
That's why our vibes fit. We just do whatever we're wanting to do right now.
Yep. Where can they find you?
You can go to backlookcinema.com, and there are links to whatever podcast app that you want to listen to the show on. And sometimes I'm on social media, not as much as I used to be, but you can find me on like Instagram or Blue Sky or Threads. I'm probably on Threads most of the time, talking about stuff that has nothing to do with entertainment. Or sometimes you can see some promotions on Twitter, but those are the places where I'm mostly haunting, and those are all at Backlook Cinema.
Very good. Well, you can also check out Paul and I. I'm on at Idle Ride on Blue Sky most of the time now, and our podcast is on any podcast app that you have. Just look up Idle Ride. And thank you so much, Zoe. It was so fun having you on.
It was fun to be here.
And we'll have to have you on again, maybe on one of the later episodes. And thank you so much. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.